Welcome back to the Stormcast, everyone. This is the podcast where we talk all things TABC sports. My name is Eli Hochberg, and we're here today with my co-host Oren Glickman and special guest Joseph Goldberg. But first, let me tell you about our sponsor for today's episode, Hustle and Heart Sports. Hustle and Heart Sports is an elite athletic company designed to encourage and support athletes in reaching their goals. On June 22nd through the 24th, they'll be partnering with the HAL PTA to host a 3-day basketball camp for boys from 3rd grade to 8th grade, which will feature experienced Yeshiva League and Hustle and Heart coaches. Other events include the end of summer girls sleepaway camp and then the boys sleepaway camp at La Vie, where 5th through 12th graders can learn from the top basketball coaches, compete with top Yeshiva League players, and also develop friendships for life. Hustle and Heart will also just ran a month back, girls varsity all-star game on March 21st, where Team Yeshiva League took on Team National Jewish players at SAR. And lastly, Hustle and Heart will be running a middle school girls Yeshiva League all-star game at Yeshivat Ha'atid on May 17th in a little over 2 weeks. And to round things off, Hustle and Heart just finished their first girls seminary league where TVA beat MMY in the finals. Once again, thank you to Hustle and Heart for not only making this podcast happen, but also for all these great events. To sign up for any of these, click the link in the description of this video. Oren, Joseph, how are you guys doing today?
Good, good. End of another tiring week. A lot going on. Last day of April, on to May, and yeah, let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. Just finished watching the baseball game tonight. Great win for the school fan base, and volleyball season's wrapping up, but I'm sure we'll get to that soon.
Yeah, so we'll start off with volleyball. Joseph, you're the captain of volleyball, Mr. Volleyball at the ABC. You guys are sitting atop of your division at 6-1. You were undefeated, but you unfortunately suffered a loss against SAR. So just tell me about how did you guys rebound after really a crushing loss against SAR and ending your undefeated season to rebound in resounding fashion against MDY?
Yeah, so Sunday afternoon we headed to New York. We lost to SAR. We lost 3-0, although each set was close, meaning we were in the game for pretty much most of the game, just couldn't get it done. Um, I think we saw the playoffs in our view, as now we clinched the playoffs now that we won at MDY,
Anyway.
MDY. So now we saw the playoffs and we took the opportunity to beat MDY, and now we're gonna hopefully clinch the division this coming week on Tuesday.
Yeah, well, first, we're glad that baseball was able to avenge that defeat with a 3-0 win of their own tonight over SAR. Um, so there was a lot of uncertainty going into this season. 2 weeks before the season had started, you guys got news that, Coach Omar, the coach who really built the program from the ground up, was not going to be returning due to personal issues that was going on in his life. And the fact that you guys are, one win away and a loss for SAR, one more loss for SAR potentially wins the conference for you and a bye into the semifinals. Could you have imagined all this happening? Going back to that time when you got the news that your coach was not going to be returning?
I mean, no, it's pretty surreal. I mean, just 2 months ago, I was in your office and there were talks about, we're not going to have a season. And just think that we've had the best season yet in TBC volleyball history. Currently 6-1. Again, hopefully we're going to win the division. It's totally surreal.
Just you're a senior now, so you're approaching your final home game. I mean, regular season home game, and your 3 years of playing volleyball is coming up. So, looking back at your past 3 years of volleyball, what's really been your favorite moment? I mean, hopefully, some favorite moments coming up also with hopefully some championship victory. But so far, what have been some moments that have really stuck out to you in your career?
I think the best moments are the road games. Everyone gets excited in the van, especially when we win on the road. That's the best feeling, go out to dinner after the game. Um, those are the team bonding moments are the best. I mean, obviously, if I get an ace or make a nice diving play, those are always my favorite plays to make. But I think the winning on the road and then celebrating as a team afterwards are the best moments.
Yeah, yeah. So, uh, obviously th 3 years of being a part of a program that didn't exist your freshman year, and having that experience was definitely enriching. As you move on to graduation, do you feel like this program can continue to thrive, and continue the hard work that you put in terms of building this program and helping it be competitive and get established?
Yeah, I mean, the juniors this year, who will be seniors next year, they have a really nice group of guys who I think can easily take the team um, again to playoff the season. Caesar, we got Kreisman, David Ratzerdorfer, and Aiden Efraimov. But I think it's really on the juniors to recruit more freshmen and sophomores because there's not a lot of depth behind um, behind the the juniors. Meaning on the we have a couple there's no sophomores, there's a couple freshmen, but besides that, there's nobody else on the team. So I think it's really up to the grades below me to really get more kids involved in the game, and hopefully they'll be successful going forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Jogo, just one final question for me. Then, if everyone has any more questions, then stick it. Keep on going. What do you see the keys to success of this team in the playoffs? Obviously, you learned a lot from the loss against SAR. So, what are the keys again when you're going to go against some of the best teams?
I think we just what we've been doing all year. Got to take it 1 point at a time. It's not one set at a time. It's not one game at a time. It's 1 point at a time. It's getting the bump, the set, and the spike. It's limiting the free balls. It's just one play at a time. Play our game. Don't worry about the other team. Don't worry about how tall they are or how good they look while they warm up. We play our game. We're unbeatable.
Yeah, so my final question is obviously you're guaranteed to host a playoff game regardless of what happens going the rest of the way. It's just a matter of whether that home playoff game is in the first round or a bye into the semifinals. Assuming you guys are able to take care of business against Flatbush and SAR slip up against either Ramaz or North Shore, who are both very strong teams, you guys will have that semifinal game. Is there an ideal opponent you like to host in that semifinal game?
Um, I'd like to play Rambam again. I mean, they've been looking good. It seems like they'll make the playoffs. Um, Obviously, it looks like we want to avoid After and North Shore. They look like they might be the strongest teams that we haven't played on our schedule yet this season. But I just think anyone anyone we could play with any team. That's what I believe. I just think going again, if we play our game, we could play with any team in the league.
Thank you, Jogo, for your insights on the volleyball team. Jogo, feel free, you'll stay on because Jogo is reigning fan of the year for the TBC Stormcast Awards. So knows a lot about sports, especially swing sports. So moving on to baseball, the only undefeated team remaining. They came off of a win that not so many people expected them tonight. Going into the season, people expected TBC baseball to be third best team, fourth best team, and here
I think they were
TBC is.
sixth in the initial YLP rankings, no?
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know, but definitely behind Frisch and SAR in that same range as MTA. And here they are after beating Frisch 3-1, SAR 3-0, and MTA 7-0. And the offenses look good, especially in that MTA game. Shai Bonner's the best pitcher in the league in my mind, no doubt. What are your takeaways, especially after tonight's game? Just talk a little bit about the upset, or I don't know. Jonathan Kaplan's going to be upset for me calling it an upset, but I guess the upset tonight and what have been the key success for this baseball team and the outlook going forward?
It's actually crazy. I got to the game at the top of the seventh, so that's where all the action happened. I actually got there at the same time as Yost Khan and Jonathan Faber, and Jackson Fight was on the mound for SAR, and it was scoreless up until the seventh inning. So he got the job done, and Shia Bodner pitched a complete game on our end. Um, Jackson's pitch count was higher than Shia's, so I think that's why Jackson left the game. And we're obviously a ride and die with Shia type team. Um, and Noah, who's considered the stronger fight on the mound, he went in and listen, it happens even to the best out there. He just couldn't find the strike zone. So who was the first base runner was a walk. And then I think it was Fisher who bunted,
Yes.
and they said that Josh Wazotsky, the first baseman for SAR, was off the bag, so that that put runners on first and second. And there's a lot of head games in baseball. It's a mental game, you know? So when you already have runners on first and second with nobody out, you're a little anxious on the mound, you know, and you got to throw strikes. And if you're not throwing strikes, the team will kill you. Um, but I just thought it was amazing that it was bases loaded, and there was still a possibility the fight could strike out the side and we wouldn't score at all.
And he
But
walked Zach Field, by the way, after
right,
that
right,
right
Zach
pitcher.
Field walked,
Right.
and then Yehuda Noble cleared the bases with made amazing contact, and the SAR fielder went for the diving catch, couldn't come up with the play, and that cleared the bases for a 3-0 lead. And generally, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but in Yeshiva League baseball, if you're going to be up 3-0, you're most likely going to be able to close out the game in the bottom half, and that's what Shia Bodner did. Actually, the first two hitters for SAR on the bottom half, Fisher caught a great line drive. The second batter grounded out, and then Shia struck out the last batter. So yeah.
And just as for the season as a whole, I mean, this has been a resounding success. We haven't really spoken since post Pesach. So, what have your takeaways from the season as a whole, and also just the outlook looking forward? They're playing an easier Ramaz team, going to Hank, one of the best teams in the other conference, and then hosting Hillel, who also is a formidable opponent, from what I'm aware.
Yeah, there's no reason at this point they shouldn't finish 7-1 or even go 8-0, go perfect. And have home field throughout the playoffs. Hank's a decent team. They have a really good pitcher, Gross. Um, yeah, the fact that this team is 5-0, I'm stunned, and they deserve a lot of credit for the position that they're in right now. But there's still a lot of baseball to be played. Frisch and SAR will be very tough come playoff time. But the fact is that they're in the driver's seat for the one seed going into the playoffs, I think is mightily impressive. I don't know if you
There's
Yeah,
something
have
that
any
I
say.
always found interesting about Yeshiva League baseball, going off what Oren said about home field advantage, right? Like tonight, for example, TABC was the away team playing SAR in Englewood, which, if you look on the map, much closer to Englewood's much closer to TABC than it is SAR. Um, even when TABC played at Frisch, I think the game was at Frisch. It's really not
Not
that far
not
from
fresh,
TABC.
fresh, but it was in Paramus. Yeah.
It was in Param. Okay, it was in Paramus. Still, even though it's an away game, they haven't really played super far from TABC, which allowed fans to be there tonight. Obviously, I wasn't able to make it, but I find it interesting that a lot of the games are centrally located to TABC, whereas other sports such as volleyball, let's say, in the past week we went to SAR and we went to Brooklyn. I just always found that interesting, honestly.
I
Yeah,
mean,
well, I think the easy answer to that question, I can't speak for Frisch. I mean, Frisch is obviously also in that area, but with SAR, it's very hard to get field permits in the city of New York.
Right,
And
and they're
SAR,
traveling into New Jersey just to play
right,
us as
right,
a home game,
right.
which is,
And I'm sure SAR have a lot of Bergen County kids on their team, but
I'm
it's
sure, yeah,
right, but it's still it's factual for sure. And TABC have played a lot of games at McKay this year. So yeah.
right.
just to take it on a little bit more of a negative note, talk about varsity softball for a minute. We're 0-2. I'm a proud member of the team. I won for one of the season. Shout out me, I guess. Not trying to brag here, but that just some positive. We're tied in both our games, heading into both the games in the sixth inning, and then blew the lead in both. We're not going to say the final scores for either. The scores are not as flattering as the games were really as close as they were. Missing players in both games. It doesn't look like the season's not going to look like a season that we're going to make the playoffs. But zero seniors, a lot of the core returning. If we just run it back next year with a stronger roster, we 100% are looking in good shape. And softball is just such an interesting league, and that's really about it. That's what we're going to leave it at. Moving on to we've really had three really successful teams this year. Obviously, soccer has both been solid teams, but the three really resounding successes so far in spring sports have been volleyball, baseball, and flag football. Flag football started off the year on a not as great note. I mean, they lost to MTA, I believe, and lost to SAR, but now they just like destroyed SAR like 35-0 or something like that, and now are hosting all the games are OT, playing Frisch as the higher seed, I believe. In the semifinals, and I have OT this Sunday night. So, Oren, if you want to tell us a little bit about the flag football team, how the team's been looking recently, and the outlook for this playoff game.
Right. Well, it's the winner of a playing game between Frisch and Kushner, but
Oh,
I think
okay.
everybody assumes it's going to be Frisch, and then MTA will play SAR in the other semifinal game. I was at the game the other night against SAR. They won 37 nothing. They had the best quarterback in the league. Shia Bodner is the best quarterback. There's no question. And just everything was clicking on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Shlomo Wenger can play both sides of the ball. Yost Khan's an amazing defensive lineman. And Shia just makes these ridiculous throws, whether it's to his brother Yona, Zach Field, Marty Teitelbaum. If Shia is really on fire, I don't think MTA or SAR can come within striking distance of beating TABC. I would also add that I think, listen, the MTA loss, I think that was the very first week of the season where they were, trying to gel at that point, trying to get to know one another. And I think the SAR loss, I think it was just one of those off nights, but beating the second best team in the league, SAR 37 nothing, that's kind of a statement defining win as now they head into the playoffs in a winner go home type situation.
Yeah, the flag football. I think the flag football team is really great. I think just the existence of the flag football league is awesome. Just allows you to see some skills for guys that a sport that never really existed. Like I don't know, like
Yeah, and,
makes
and
sense. Like
special shout out to both Frisch and SAR for organizing this league. It's not under MYHSAL jurisdiction, but it's a competitive league. The guys have fun, they're enjoying themselves. The refs are official. So yeah.
okay, so we got to keep it moving. Oren, if you want to take golf, golf, I think they're having a meet soon. So you could talk about them, and also I'll just throw in tennis there. Also, two teams that tennis has actually been surprisingly successful for this year. I think they've won more games already than last year. Um, they're 2-3 or something like 2-3, but two of their losses have been very narrow. The Frisch they almost won, and Heschel tonight. I sorry, Hill tonight,
Hello
not Heschel.
tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, Hill tonight. They almost won again. New blood. But if you want to talk about both those teams before we move on to soccer,
Yeah, sure. So, this is not our first year of having the golf team at TABC. It's our second year. Special thanks to the Posners for everything that they do in supporting the program. But for the first time ever, the MYHSAL is doing an MYHSAL Golf Open, and that'll be taking place at Seawain on Sunday in the Five Towns. Um, so yeah, I really don't know much about high school golf in terms of scorekeeping and how it works. If I had to highlight a few guys, I would say Joey Slomnicki is up there in terms of being one of the better golfers on the team. I think Jaden LaFell's solid, has a good drive. Ari Schulhoff is a promising sophomore. Um, I don't know how many schools are competing in this. I think we're sending up to 9 golfers to this tournament. Um, the only thing I can really confirm is that I've heard many good things about DRS golf. Mikey Freund in particular, who was on the DRS varsity basketball team. That's a familiar name to people out there. So I've heard murmurs about DRS golf being really good and how they can win this tournament. I've heard maybe Ramaz is decent. But I'm excited for the guys. It's a really good experience, a really good opportunity for them, and hopefully they're out there and enjoy themselves. And we'll see how it plays out.
yeah, so theme of this episode, I guess, a lot of that to MYHSAL, but really new sports taking over the Yeshiva League and it allows you to, for new kids to showcase their skills, which is really something that sports is all about is demonstrate is being able to have a hobby and demonstrate your skills in different areas outside of the classroom. So shout out to
And
these new
that's
sports.
that's the beauty of spring sports, right? Winter sports is, it's hockey and basketball. That's it. Maybe wrestling also, but spring sports is really when kids could be on multiple teams. Kids could show off talents that they can't show normally off. Right? All these sports that are not so big in the yeshiva league, but doesn't matter because everyone's having fun. Everyone's having a good time.
Yeah. So, Oren, moving on to the final two teams before I guess we get to like track and field or whatever, cross country. I don't know the difference to
Track
be honest.
championships are on Sunday, and Aiden Efraimov is probably our best runner. That's the only thing I can really opine on when it comes to track.
And also, didn't we like lose our 9 Pete last year or something like that?
We lost our 9P
You
last
know what I'm
year.
saying?
I think
So,
Kushner won, if I recall. Yeah.
maybe we'll get back on our. Maybe we'll actually win this year. Maybe get it back. I'm moving on to soccer. You're very involved in the soccer program over in first off varsity. Varsity's 4-3. They lost to SAR and sorry, they lost to SAR, Kushner and Frisch. Beat Ramaz. I think we spoke about that game on this podcast. The
Well,
crazy
I think we
win.
missed tennis. We missed tennis.
Oh, tennis. I mean, I spoke of them briefly. You could talk about tennis. They're 2-3. Beat lost to
Right.
Frisch and
Well, listen,
Hill.
they beat the teams that they were supposed to beat to start off 2-0. Heichal, who are playing in the league for the first time, and Kushner. Um, the Frisch Hillel losses were extremely disappointing. And because of the Hillel loss tonight, it's really going to hurt them in terms of making the playoffs because I believe it's top four in each conference. So now making the playoffs are going to be very, very, very difficult. They have two more winnable games against MTA and Heichal in an effort to finish 500 on the year. Yeah, shout out to it's a very senior heavy team. Nathaniel Kalb, Aaron Barzita, and Itai Gershon who play doubles. Um, Jack Nordlich plays
Jack Norlick,
doubles.
yeah.
Gabriel Sachs plays doubles here and there. Yeah, there will be some good pieces that return the following year. Noah Schwabel stepped into a singles role. Ori Schloss, I didn't even know played tennis until seeing him at the tryouts this year.
Okay, Ori Schloss is good at every sport. You just list that in your mind. Ori Schloss will be above average in every single sport he plays.
Well,
It's just a rule.
Joseph and I dislike him because he ditched volleyball for tennis.
He did ditch volleyball, but
And
Uh,
he did softball for tennis also. So
to an
Ori,
extent, yeah. But I gotta
Ori,
give
if you're
credit.
listening to this, we love you. We love
I
you.
got to
We
give a
love
lot
you.
of credit to Alex Kalb, the head coach. He's really done everything he could to try to change the culture and people taking it more seriously. I think 2 years ago, people just went to go play to have fun, and now we're competing. Even these losses that we suffered against Frisch and Hillel, they were down to one match, and Frisch won the championship a couple of years ago. So yeah, it looks like if we can finish 500 on the year, 4-4, I think that's something to hang your head high on when it comes to TABC tennis.
100%. Moving on to soccer. Varsity soccer's in at 4-3, expected to beat Heichel. So expected to be 5-3. I've been told it's good enough for a playing spot. I don't know.
Yeah. So this is different than tennis, where it's top four in each conference. In varsity soccer, it's top five. So how does that work exactly? Four and five play against each other in a play-in game. So I believe now we are guaranteed to be in the play-in round against Ramaz. It's just a matter of whether we'll be hosting Ramaz or going to Ramaz.
That's a matter of Ramaz beats Kushner or not. And then we
Right,
beat,
right. So
assuming
if we beat the Heichal game is now meaning well, no, we have to beat
yeah,
Heichal to
beat Hale,
lock up
yeah.
yeah, we have to beat Heichal to lock up the four. Heichal's playing in the league for the first time. And Ramaz, if they beat Kushner, Ramaz will host us in the playing game. If Ramaz lose to Kushner, we will host Ramaz in a playing game. Yeah, listen, there's been a lot of growing pains with this team. I think the biggest challenge has been Gold not being able to play goalie, and I think it's unanimous that Seagold is the best goalkeeper in the league. And unfortunately, he had shoulder surgery, so now he's had to adapt to a totally new position playing defense. And it's been tough on him. It's been tough on him. You have another great captain in Moishi Goldberger, a 3-year varsity player, and you have promising juniors in Tani Fleischman and Dee Rimberg. Yeah, listen, anything can happen in the playoffs. But I think if you ask any pundit when it comes to varsity soccer, this is SAR's league to lose. SAR is extremely, extremely talented.
Okay, we're moving on to your team. We got the JV soccer boys. Right now they're 4-2. Lost to Heschel by one and lost to Kushner by three. 4-2, playing Heschel. And then we'll be playing Frisch as well, who they beat earlier in the season. What's the outlook for that team? How the guys been? Right, I don't think we've spoken about any one of their games because all of their games have been post Pesach. So if you want to just talk about the
Which is
team and how the
not
team's
common,
been,
by the way, that the fact that I
yeah.
scheduled all my games for after Pesach, it just happened that way. Listen, I'm very proud of my team. I'm very proud of my team. We were 1-2 at one point. Now we've won three in a row. We're in a really good spot. Shout out to my captains, particularly Nate Brodsky, Jack Solomon, David Gampel. Um, listen, I think JV is a crapshoot. I think anything can happen. Any team can beat anybody. Um, we have two big games coming up on Sunday against the defending champs in Heschel. When we lost to Heschel, it's a very, very, very small gym. It's like a pinball machine. So we're undefeated at home right now. So hopefully, when we host Heschel this time around on our turf, we'll be able to take care of business, and that'll officially clinch us a playoff spot. I think what is so crazy, and I think you guys would agree, a school of both their sizes, SAR JV soccer is out of playoff contention. And if we were to beat Frisch on Tuesday, Frisch would be out of playoff contention.
Yeah,
It's funny. It's the exact
that's
opposite on the
crazy.
varsity level. Also, how good they are on the varsity level,
Right.
and also
Frisch and
the
JV varsity soccer both extremely, extremely good. They're the contenders. So the fact that they're on the up in varsity soccer and both their JV programs could look at the possibility of not making the playoffs, I think that's stunning. I think that's
I mean,
very,
it
very
kind of
exciting.
reminds me of JV basketball this year for SAR. SAR, like again, another big school, just like missing out on the
Right. But they
playoffs, and
squeaked in at the end.
almost missing out. I mean, like SAR and Amaz, like both those teams, like being up and up on the varsity level. Both those teams making one making the semifinals, and like both of them were fighting for that playoff spot in the end. So
Right.
that was kind of it. Just reminded me of that, and just yeah, very interesting. So for some reason, Kushner, Heschel, and SIR is always really good at soccer. I feel like.
Well,
Um,
Heschel are the defending champions. I don't think they're as
yeah,
strong as they were last year, but you can never count out defending champions. And Kushner's very strong this year. Kushner is a very good team. They've been the most consistent, in my opinion.
yeah, okay. I think that really sums up all the sports. The spring sports, there's a lot of them. Shout out to them all, I guess. Any final words? Shout out to
Um,
Tickfulware, our second sponsor.
oh yeah,
Um,
Tickfulware.
Shout out
Yeah.
to them.
Volleyball
Uh,
senior night on Tuesday.
I'll let Joseph close out. I guess my take is I think the teams that are really on the up right now are volleyball and baseball. Being 6-1 and 5-0. So I think we're expecting deep runs from them. Varsity soccer, I think it's really just let's see what can happen in the playoffs. I don't think if we're one and done, I don't think people will be totally stunned. But at the same time, I think they could make a run all the way up until the semifinals, and then once you get to the final four, anything can happen. Um, I think golf will be exciting. I think flag football, we have high expectations in terms of them winning it all in their inaugural year as a team. I think my JV soccer team has a really, really good chance to make some noise. We're in real good form right now. And for my closing, before Joseph closes out, I think the softball team's expectations are just to win a game.
Yeah, I mean, senior night on Tuesday, home versus Flatbush, 8 o'clock. Presentation after the game. Shout out Daniel Delman. He's committing. I'm not going to say where, but he's committing tomorrow. So by the time this comes out, I guess his decision will be official. And looking down the line, we got playoffs coming up for all spring sports, and then recapping it all with the sports dinner coming up at the end of all the seasons. So everyone, I guess, have a good night, and let's go
Thank you all
Storm.
so much. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. Have a good night, and yeah, see you.